We'll start with the verse. We ended last week. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. رب المشرقين ورب المغربين. We ended there with Rabb, the Master, the Lord of al-Mashriqayn. What does say Mashriq means again? Okay, well, you said something else besides east. We said Mashriq is on which scale? Which pattern? Ismul. Mashriq is what? Ismul Makan. Good. Mashriq is Ismul Makan. What's the scale of Ismul Makan? Yeah, but what's the scale? I gave you two, actually three, but two main ones. Maf'il or Maf'al. So anything with Maf'il, Maf'al is a place. So Sajada, Masjid is a place where you make sujood. Kataba, Maktab, not Maktib, Maktab is a place of books, an office or a library. So Sharaqa means to set. So Mashriq is the place of setting. The place of setting. So Allah says Allah is the Lord of the two places of the sun. Sorry, not setting, rising. Is the two places of the sun rising. So we spoke about some interpretations. One interpretation could be it refers to the winter and the summer, that they rise in different places. The sun rises in different places. Or it can mean that it's the extreme east and the two extreme east, and it will mean the entire east. And the two extreme west will mean the entire west. So Allah is the Lord of the Mashriq and Allah is the Lord of the Maghrib. What do you think this ayah is linked to compared to the previous ayahs? Like what ayah does this sort of link to compared to the previous ones? In terms of like thematically. Okay, balance could be one of them. But specifically with the sun, what was the sun mentioned before? Ash-shamsu wal-qamaru bihusban. That the sun and the moon are with precise calculation. And therefore we have precise seasons and precise times. And you can have a perpetual solar calendar that every year Maghrib will be on the same time on the same day. Because it's husban. And because of that we have Mashriqain and we have the Rabb of the Maghribain. Then Allah asks, فَبِأَيِّ آلَاءِ رَبِّكُمَا تُكَذِّبَانِ. Again, I mean it's like a simple thing, but if the earth wasn't tilted and we didn't have two rising places of the sun and we didn't have an alternation of seasons, the world would be a very different place. If Ketana had no winter, the world would be a different place. There may not even be people here if Captain had no winter. So just the fact that the earth is tilted and there are two mashriqs and two maghribs and two seasons, there's a great favor from Allah. And فَبِأَيِّ آلَاءِ رَبِّكُمَا تُكَذِّبَانِ. Then Allah says, where are we now? مَرَجَ الْبَحْرَيْنِ يَلْتَقِيَانِ بَيْنَهُمَا بَرْزَخٌ لَا يَبْغِيَانِ. Did the word maraja come before? Yes. Where did it come before? But a similar word came before? It says Marijim min. Now Allah says about the man and jinn. Allah says خَلَقَ الْإِنسَانَ من صلصال كالفخار وخلق الجان من مارج من نار. من مارج من نار. So marriage, we had two meanings there. One could be it's a mix from fire being the main component, or marriage could be the invisible part of the flame. So here maraja means to mix. Maraja means to mix. Maraja also means a marj is also a land that doesn't belong to anybody. So marj is what? A land, like if you send your flock out to the marj, it means you're sending your flock out to graze in an open piece of land that doesn't belong to anybody, so it's like a huge expansive piece of land. Also one of the meanings of marj as well. So in other words, when you think about water, yes, you can say al-bahrain. Maraja means that he so maraja, so where's the verb for, where's the fa'il for maraja? Maraja, where's the fa'il for it? Inside the who? It's referring to Allah. So when I say marj means a pasture is like an open, free place. It doesn't belong to anybody. The marj specifically is an open pasture that doesn't belong to anybody. So marj can also be this idea of like this freedom, like this flowing, this never ending. Therefore some translations say he released. But maraja can also mean to meet, to mix. So maraja, he released and he goes to meet what? Al-Bahraini. Al-Bahrain is going to be what? Yeah, it's not actually seas, bodies of water. Bodies of water. Yeah, it can be a sea also. Obviously, Bahr means sea, but in another ayah, Allah says. Sometimes what happens is that it's interesting because this is not the only place Allah speaks about two seas. So Allah speaks about two seas in other places. So in other verse, Allah says, وَمَا يَسْتَوِي الْبَحْرَانِ, and the two Bahran are not equal. هَذَا عَذْبٌ فُرَاتٌ سَائِغٌ شَرَابُهُ, this is sweet and pleasant to drink. وَهَذَا مِلْحٌ أُجَاجٌ, and this is salty and bitter. So when Allah is speaking about two Bahrs there, what's Allah speaking about? Two seas. When Allah says the one is sweet and pleasant to drink, is that the sea? What type of water is that? Fresh water. Fresh water. So in another ayah, when Allah speaks about two seas, Allah says the one is pleasant to drink. So that's a dalil that can't be salty sea, because there's no way Allah can say salty sea is pleasant to drink. So it's a proof that the one water is actually what? Is sweet, and the other water is salty. But now the question is, it's a difficult question, because is do you take that two seas and say that two seas are the same two seas Allah is speaking about here? You understand the question? Here Allah is speaking about two seas. There Allah spoke about two seas. Are those two seas referring to the same two seas? Which brings you to an important realization about tafsir. It's interesting because traditionally in the science of tafsir, they normally say that the highest level of tafsir is tafsir al-Quran bil-Quran. The Quran making tafsir of the Quran. That sounds good at first glance, but if you think about it deeply, that is still an intellectual, rational exercise. Because you're still linking a part of the Quran to another part of the Quran. And that linkage you're making is often an opinion. Are you with me? Because normally they say there's tafsir that is what, like, let's call it tafsir bil riwayah, narrated tafsir, and there's tafsir bil ra'i, opinion-based tafsir. But I'm saying even with narrated tafsir, there is an element of opinion, because I still need to say that this ayah is actually linked to this ayah, linked to this ayah, therefore I can group them together. And there's an example of that. Do I take that ayah and say that ayah speaks about this two seas, or this is two different seas? You understand the question? So generally they speak about this, and ulama generally link it because that's kind of the style. But they'll say this actually doesn't refer to two oceans. Like we normally think Cape Point is this Cape Point ayah. The tour guide that takes him to Cape Point and they show them the Marj al-Bahraini al-Taqiyan. And there's the Indian Ocean, Atlantic Ocean, they don't mix, and you can see the dividing line. If you take the tafsir, it doesn't actually refer to two oceans. It typically refers to a body of fresh water, and normally refers to, they say, in the Arab context, where will be fresh water in the Arab context? No, that's Africa. The Tigris and the Euphrates. So the Tigris and Euphrates, they will merge, they're the largest body of water, and they will enter into what they call today the Persian Gulf. So the Tigris and Euphrates are actually freshwater rivers, and they enter into the Persian Gulf. The one is sweet and you can drink it, it's a river, a freshwater river, and the other one is salty. So in the Arab context, when they read this ayah, they'll think about those two seas, if you're going to apply that tafsir to this. You know, Allah says, Maraja, He releases, He sends, and He causes to meet al-Bahraini, the two oceans. And what happens to the two oceans? Yaltaqiyan, they meet. Now there's the two bodies of water, there's no wall in between them. The two bodies of water, they meet. Then Allah says, Bainahuma, what's baina? Between the two of them, between these two bodies of water is a barzakh. A barzakh means what? A barrier. There's a barrier. La yabghiyan. La yabghiyan means what? They do not. Yeah, when I say transgressor, that's like a moral connotation, but it just means that so let's assume it's salty and fresh, that the salt of the one doesn't go into the other one and make the other one salty. Is you with me? That's the meaning of not mixing here. Is that the fresh water doesn't become salty because of the meeting with the salt water. They remain two independent bodies of water. There may be other scientific explanations. Our brother Mahmoud had an article on science in the Quran, the Muslim viewers. I think the thing with science and the Quran is that I'm very hesitant to say that this ayah speaks about that scientific phenomena as a categorical statement. You with me? Because I can interpret this from a salt water, fresh water perspective, and it could be completely valid. Or I could do some research and show you that the two ocean currents, the warm current and the cold current, don't mix, and the meeting point moves between Cape Agulhas and Cape Point, and the meeting point meets, and that could be a valid scientific fact. But for me to say that this ayah speaks about that fact, that is you can't say it categorically. It categorically means 100%, because I'm not 100% sure if this is referring to two salty oceans or a salt body and a fresh body of water. So when it comes to generally science in the Quran, I'm very hesitant to often say that this ayah speaks about that phenomena, because do we know that for sure? Or we're saying it could be that this ayah could be referring to that phenomena, because Muslims are, not Muslims in general, Muslims today are very famous for dodge science. You know, get this WhatsApp, it's really irritates me. This crack in the moon and mashallah, and I will never ever follow, I never ever forward that stuff. If it looks dodgy, if it's not published first of all, then don't even read the stuff. But I'm just saying because science is a moving target. Yes, it's dynamic. They say a theory only lasts until it's disproven. Which is a strange thing to say, that the theory is only there until it's going to be disproven. So what I'm saying is, when it comes to science in the Quran, is that we can make the links, but be careful of saying that the Quran says this, because what if this is disproven in 100 years' time? You understand the issue? What if we say this is actually not proven in 100 years' time? Then what are you going to say? So I'm just careful to make that definitive link. I'm saying that they can inform each other, but definitively say I would be careful about that. So I generally ascribe to conservatism because people can take words and pull them to many points to kind of promote relevance. But when the point disappears, then you're left with a strand that's hanging. And now you where am I? You with me? So that's going to be a simple thing is when Nabi Nuh and we had the flood. Muslims in their mind believe the flood was national, was global. But is there evidence for that? You with me? Is there proof, evidence? Because that's why we teach madrasa, the whole world flooded, and I think biblical imports and so on. So I generally say when it comes to scientific phenomena is that kind of definitively stick to what the text says, And speculatively you can extend and say perhaps, it's probable, possible, likely, you can use those kind of words, but just be careful. Says the Quran says that this exists. You with me? Now, there's an interesting question on because it's a bit of a diversion now, but the Quran and evolution. There's a scholar called Dawood Jalajil. He makes an interesting case for how evolution, as understood in dominant science today, can be compatible with the Quranic teaching. He makes an interesting case from a classical when I say a classical scholarship point of view, not from a kind of. He uses classical approaches, and one of his tools he uses is the tool of let's call it interpretive conservatism. That the Quran doesn't deny evolution. The Quran just says Nabi Adam was the first person. Do you with me? I'm not saying I subscribe to it. I'm just saying to give you a theory is it possible that there were beings before Nabi Adam that weren't humans? Yes, it was possible, yes or no? But let me ask a question first of all. Is it possible that there were creatures before Nabi Adam? Creatures. Now I'm talking about the physical creatures. Is it possible that there was dinosaur before Nabi Adam? Is it possible? You see that now, if you say possible, impossible, if I'm talking about from a religious text point of view, I can't say anything that the religious text, if it doesn't say that there were no dinosaurs before, I can't imply that. You with me? I can't imply that. So I'm just saying that there are, I don't know why I'm going on this tangent, but I'm just, it's a bahar, and there's people going to Cape Point every time. I'm concerned about that kind of just like liberties and just saying like, you see the Quran and quote the Quran is speaking about this place. Just to like be careful what you are saying, because what if tomorrow then it's fine that the two currents do actually mix and just is some, you know what I mean? Then you don't want to kind of destabilize your Imani background because your text has been disproven by new scientific discovery. If you get what I'm saying. So what the Quran says, and we stick to that. How we now apply it to modern science, they rather just be a bit conservative about making those links. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. Because there's Quran in revolution, Quran in the Big Bang, Quran in many, many other things. These are often just linking the Quran to a scientific theory, not a scientific reality. It's a fundamentally different thing. But anyway, that's a long discussion.
If there were beings before Nabi Adam alayhi salam, would Allah not have revealed that in the Quran? As Allah has revealed all the sciences and the galaxies and that to us, and now we discover that those things exist.
Yeah, there's many others. There are many things unrevealed. Like remember, I asked you a simple question: is there life on other planets? From an Islamic point of view, is there life on other planets from an Islamic point of view? And for many things, the Quran is silent about it because, and if the Quran is silent about it, it's silent about it. You know what, when we have to say that the Quran is silent about this thing, and perhaps with time we will discover, we won't discover, whatever the case is, because Allah leaves the discovery. From an interpretive point of view, Allah not mentioning something is not a proof. You with me? Allah not mentioning something is not a proof it doesn't exist. They say normally the absence of evidence doesn't imply the evidence of absence. Okay. You can wrap your mind around that, inshallah. The absence of evidence in the Quran doesn't indicate towards the evidence of the absence of evidence of absence. Anyway, it's a long discussion. Yeah. Because I think an important part of like Mizan Institute, or let's say Mizan, is that we do want to. I think compatibility with the world you live in is a very important point. Like you don't want to experience, and I think to a large extent maybe the Christian faith experience it, is like a schizophrenia between your church and state. You know, like when you're in the Muslim crowd, we believe something, But we go into the modern world, okay, now that is like, doesn't fit in here. You with me? So I think there's a great need to create a compatibility. Obviously, not a contrived, real compatibility, based on traditional tools, traditional interpretations between what we believe textually and what we experience in the world. Because fundamentally, and I say fundamentally, there's no contradiction, because the Creator is one. If you have a fundamental conviction that the Creator of the Quran, the Creator of the Quran is a dangerous statement to say, that the speaker of the Quran, Allah, is also the Creator of the world, then there can never be a contradiction. And fundamentally, you understand what I mean? If you fundamentally believe that Allah, the Creator of the world, is the speaker of the Quran, He can't speak something and create a different thing. Allah doesn't do that. Allah speaks the truth. You with me? So there is no reason for me as a Muslim to ever find incompatibility with me and my science and me in the modern world. You with me? There's never a reason. There's only one of two reasons why. Is either the science is wrong or my understanding of the text is wrong. If it's conflict between the two, either the science is wrong or the theory is wrong or my understanding of the text is wrong. You with me? But the two cannot contradict. You cannot come to a verse that contradicts a definitive scientific reality. It's impossible. Because the creator of the revealer of the verse is the creator of the scientific reality. Not theory, reality. So that's just some discussion about how we approach this verse. So what I'm saying is that the verse says that two bodies of water meet. There is a barrier between them and they do not exceed that barrier. You with me? That's what the words say. Now, whether I take that and saying two ocean currents and the one doesn't meet, or fresh water, salt water, and the salt water doesn't become fresh, then I'm going to say this could be the possible meanings of it. But the words are saying these are the words. You with me? So I'm just saying, because you might go this way with the words, you might say it refers to two salty bodies of water, and the salty bodies of water don't meet because they're separate currents and separate temperatures and separate type of organisms. It's a bad mistake. Organisms are found within them. Or you could say it's salt water, fresh water, and have a different interpretation. Yeah, so there's a question there?
No, I just, my understanding, the way I read it, it also seems to me that it could be any river mouth where you find the river.
Yes.
So it might not be specifically the Euphrates or the Nile.
Yes.
That's my understanding.
No, that will be 100% clear. So what I'm saying is that in the Arab mind, that would be their river mouth. In our mind, might be something, it might be the Nile, might be a different river mouth. So I'm saying that's just in their understanding. But it could be any fresh body of water meeting any salty body of water. Okay. Next one. فَبِأَيِّ آلَاءِ رَبِّكُمَا تُكَذِّبَانِ يَخْرُجُ مِنْهُمَا يَخْرُجُ. What يَخْرُجُ? Comes forth minhuma, from the two of it. Al-lu'lu'u. What's lu'lu'u? Pearls. And marjan? Coral. One of the evidences that Orientalists made against the Quran is based on this verse. How do Orientalists, someone who's opposed, let's say someone who's opposed to Islam, how they use this verse to oppose the Quran? They will ask you, does coral exist in fresh water? You understand the question? Understand the thing? Does coral and pearls exist in fresh water? Because Allah says, يَخْرُجُ مِنْهُمَا. But Allah says, يَخْرُجُ comes minhuma, from both of it, both bodies of water. Al-lu'lu'u, pearls, wal-marjan, and corals. So your homework inshallah is to check whether pearls and corals come from fresh water. Now we know it comes from salt water. Like you all know that, you all know coral, right? Comes from salt water. You do the diving there and stuff, even Mozambique, Red Sea. But do people dive for coral in rivers? You haven't heard about it, but I'm saying scientifically, do you find coral and pearls in fresh water? But I can say no if you haven't checked it. You must first check it. Unless you're oceanography that has studied this, like did your PhD on it. But you have to check it, inshallah. But can you see the importance of why I have to be careful about the interpretive tools I use? Let's hypothetically say, for a moment, that corals and pearls don't exist in fresh water. Hypothetically, I'm just saying hypothetically. And then what are you going to say about this ayah? I'll tell you a simple thing. A simple thing to say about this ayah is the Bahrain wasn't referring to salt water and fresh water. Simple thing. Because you made a link between that ayah and this ayah, and that is a speculative link. You with me? You with me? Because I didn't say it's salt water and fresh water. I took it from another ayah that spoke about salt water and fresh water. This ayah spoke about two bahrs. So what I'm saying is like, it's not a small thing. I'm saying this, sticking to the text is a big thing. It saves your faith. You understand? Because if you have the wrong interpretive tool and someone says, oh, but there's no coral and pearl in salt, fresh water, the Quran's obviously outdated, it's poor science, where did you come on these things? It's because the interpretive methodology was wrong. You understand? So what I'm saying, this Muslim and science thing, I'm very careful about it, because Muslims are like they dodge science. If it like somehow links to the Quran, it's Quranic. Like any kind of link you can make, it's fine to make the link, but make the link speculatively. Say perhaps, maybe, it could be that language. But the words are what the words say. The words are what the words say. So I say homework, inshallah. I'm going to ask you next week. Do corals and pearl exist in salt water? Fresh water. فَبِأَيِّهِ آلَاءِ رَبِّكُمَا Hey, I'm over time here. تُكَذِّبَانِ Okay. Maybe you're late. You must come and warn me earlier. Okay. Sorry, a bit of a long discussion today, but I think it's just important. I mean, I didn't discuss the evolution thing with you in detail. Maybe I will sometime. I'm not saying I ascribe to the view. I'm just saying that you can ask Maud Zakaria about Sheikh Dawud Jalajid and evolution. I'm just saying that we need to think about how we interpret Quran and science, inshallah. Barakallah, we talk next week, inshallah. Last thing, as a reminder, brothers, the camp 16th is closing date for registration and payment, inshallah. Also, you see that Gutri has some spaces open, like about 10 spaces. So we want our Quran students to be there first, inshallah. So we welcome you as well. Last thing also, that we're looking for a teacher for Gutri, grade R, grade 1 teacher. We're not advertising publicly because it's just too much admin, because we're preferably looking for a teacher with an Islamic studies background. They could also be Montessori trained or like normal conventional, but with a kind of Islamic studies background, same vision, same drive and so on. If you know of anybody, you can let us know, inshallah. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.